What is good, credit people, and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Bobbalam, giving my girl a hologram of myself just in case I pass away before we have children or something. I don't know. So BL3 can goddamn have a father even if he's not technically real, just like Kanye West did to Kim Kardashian. And apparently also XXXTentacion's mom Cleo is making for all of the X fans, in which she might even be making a tour with this X hologram. In addition to that, she also mentioned in a Discord Q&A with the X fans that we might also be getting a Lil Uzi Vert as well as a Juice WRLD collab and The Weeknd. So it seems pretty hype. However, obviously there is some underlying concerns of how X's legacy has been handled throughout in the past as well as in the future with all of these new moves that are technically going to be monetized, or maybe not, because X's mom shares a little bit of information that she might not actually be making any money from this. So without further ado, XXXTentacion hologram, Lil Uzi Vert, Juice WRLD, and The Weekend collabs coming soon? ? Let's talk about it. Okay, so as I already mentioned in the intro, we got a lot of things to talk about. The Weeknd, Uzi, Juice WRLD, hologram, X's mom with the money, and it all pretty much stemmed from X's mom taking heed of all the X fans' words, as well as Damas Live and academics, and that maybe she should communicate with the X fans as to what they really want rather than what she thinks the fans want, as to not tarnish X's legacy, even though, maybe it can't necessarily be tarnished, because before X passed away, he did in fact say that his mom can do whatever she wants with all of his music and all that. Also, he is technically signed under contract for a certain number of albums, whether it's posthumous or he was alive, which Cleo shares with us, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Firstly, I wanted to get into the Weekend collab, in which, as I hinted at before, X's mom Cleo communicated with X fans through a new Discord server exclusively to ask specific questions for the future of X's career and posthumous releases and whatnot, including merch, music, the documentary, etc. And so firstly, we have a question about an X feature. I believe that he should have one with The Weeknd. Could that ever be in the works? I feel as if the fans would prefer that over other random features, because that was Jazay's wish. Because I believe X actually claimed that The Weeknd saved his life on a Twitch live stream, and Cleo promptly answers, "We're working on that." So it's looking like The Weeknd and X may actually have a collab. However, some fans who are also a fan of Juice had a lot of concerns with this, especially with the posthumous release, because if you recall, after the posthumous release of Legends Never Die under Juice WRLD's label, they released an inorganic collab with Juice WRLD and The Weeknd for the original song, with just Juice WRLD actually leaked a long time before The Weeknd hopped on the song, and so it seemed a little bit disingenuous from a particular group of fans. And so likely XXXTentacion never really got in the studio with The Weeknd either, so it was likely also inorganic, and there lies the issue. Would X really have wanted this? But again, he said it himself in a recording or a tweet, so he did want this, and so it seems like this collab would be acceptable, at least in my eyes. But again, the Juice WRLD fans didn't like Smile, which was the collab with Juice WRLD and The Weeknd, so their concerns are also justifiable. But on to the next possible collab, and my personal favorite because of Lil Uzi Vert, one of the GOATs, by the way. He actually released Love Is Rage, the original mixtape that popped him off into somewhat mainstream 5 years ago on this day. But anyway, someone also asked in the Q&A on Discord saying, "Uzi collab, all caps, ? Almost looking like my YouTube titles." And she said, "We'd love to, but need to make sure it's a song he wants to do," referring to Lil Uzi Vert if he wants to hop on a posthumous release, considering he knows how fans can be. However, apparently, and I actually didn't know this, X and Uzi have met each other. There's actually an infamous picture of Uzi next to the gate holding money, and X has turned his back and on the left side of the gate, as you can see right here, as well as claiming online that XXXTentacion was his only competition in the game because of his versatility and I guess X's talent as a musician.
He was my only competition, honestly. And I'm talking about XXX.
There's also an infamous picture of Uzi and Cleo, wherein Cleo gave Uzi a crystallized portrait or stand-up figure, I don't know what you would call that, for Uzi's crib as like a little decoration piece. So it looks like Uzi and Cleo and X were all good friends behind the scenes. So this collaboration, honestly, in my opinion, would be acceptable once again, just like The Weeknd, because X would have wanted it. It's really up to Uzi if he wants to take the backlash from the inevitable fans who are gonna hate no matter what. And on to the last collab, Juice WRLD, in which another fan in the Q&A asked, "Hey Cleo, much love for you. Is there a possibility that X songs like Vice City and Palm Trees can be released on Spotify?" So those are just old SoundCloud songs that they want on all DSPs. But the more significant question in my book is obvious question, Juice and X collab question mark, much love, because that has actually been a topic that we've been discussing for the past couple of weeks after DJ Scheme teased it in a tweet saying bad vibes 999. But something opposing DJ Scheme was actually Ali Lottie, Juice WRLD's ex-fiance before he passed, wherein she claimed that she was actually at the studio when Juice recorded the collab with XXXTentacion after he had passed, but Juice was still alive, so it was halfway organic. But regardless, she said that it was probably not dropping, and so we took Ali Lottie's word, but it looks like she may have completely capped on us, in that X's mom, Cleo, who is in control of his estate and all of his music releases and music videos, as we already saw with the latest music video they just released that was her doing, it looks like she's working on both, as she said in the response on Discord. And something else that I've mentioned very briefly in previous videos is that Juice WRLD and XXXTentacion, while they were alive, actually wanted to work together or were somewhat friends. Now, they didn't meet each other in person per se, however, they did text or Instagram DM as Juice WRLD used their DMs in his Legends cover that he released soon after X was unfortunately murdered. And again, as I hinted at before, Juice WRLD intended to record 2 to 3 songs for X, so it was halfway organic. And if X was friends with Juice, I don't see why X would not have wanted to work with Juice WRLD. I mean, how hard is it really to spit on the same track when you're not even producing the beat? Like shit, Future and Young Thug be spitting out 30 tracks with 4 different artists every single goddamn night. And Juice WRLD was likely the same way because he freestyled all of his songs, as we all know. But on to the last piece of news before we get into the money situation, because I think that's a very significant part of the story with X's mom, and I think that we should take a whole part of the video to discuss that. But the XXXTentacion hologram, which caught a lot of people off guard on social media, in that it may be a little bit disrespectful, I guess, or like uncomfortable to see an actual XXXTentacion like free form, like true to size, speaking exactly like X did, although it will probably be pre-recorded words that he actually said while he was alive. But it seems as though they might be making a whole live concert tour, as they did with like Michael Jackson and some other legendary artists, so it does kind of speak to how much X meant to his fans, and that I don't think most artists could pull this off. But in essence, the fan asked, will there be any live concert arranged for X, and if so, when will there be hosting XXXTentacion shows in Nigeria? And Cleo answered, well, he's not here, but how would you guys feel about recreating at least part of his energy with a hologram? So maybe she didn't mean a whole tour dedicated to just a hologram show, in that she explicitly said recreating at least part of his energy with a hologram, so maybe it's just part of the tour, and then the rest of it would kind of be like a DJ playing his old songs, and then Ski Mask and the rest of the Bad Vibes crew and members only pumping up the crowd and whatnot. And I know a lot of people have issues with this, but personally I don't think that this is that bad. I mean, it's just like an animated music video that they're doing with Juice WRLD on all of the Legends Never Die music videos, except the hologram is kind of just like a more live version of that, like a pre-recorded, pre-scripted set of actions for X to take, like fake jumping into the crowd or like singing into the mic and pumping up the crowd. But it could be cool because they could be using actual recordings of XXXTentacion from past tour videos, and they just isolate his body out of it, so it might not be as inorganic as people would think. Just like how Michael Jackson's hologram did the exact same moves of how he did it, because they took it from pre-recorded videos of other live shows. In fact, I think over a year ago or two, they already started making a hologram, because there are pictures that have leaked of an XXXTentacion hologram. I'm not sure if it was actually used or not, or if it was like something that was super secret under wraps, but yeah, there is a leaked photo of this already. But either way, whether you agree or disagree with all of the collabs that we've discussed throughout this whole video, including the hologram, the last portion of the video I wanted to dedicate to X's mom, Cleo, not actually being as bad as we thought with monetizing his posthumous brand and capitalizing off of the clout of X's name. in that apparently she claims that she doesn't even receive any money from any of these new posthumous releases because X already received the advance for a certain number of albums, whether he passed away in this contract's duration or not. So for example, if he signed for like 4 albums and only dropped 1 album while he was alive, he still has to fulfill, whether he's alive or not. Whoever's in control of his estate still has to drop 3 more albums for him to get out of that contract, and they won't receive any money until they recoup the advance that X originally got, which was like 8 million or something like that. I don't know the number actually, but yeah, so this is all inevitable anyway. Like the label has to make their money that they invested at the beginning, and so that is why this is all happening. It's not apparently just up to X's mom, who is the bad guy. So I was a little bit wrong in my previous videos calling her out for disrespecting her son's name, but honestly she should have just clarified this fact in the first place. Like I don't know why celebrities let fans just speculate and all that shit. But more specifically, when we found out this information, a fan in the Q&A on Discord again said, "Hello Cleo, I think I speak on behalf of your son's family, as he liked to call his fans, when I say we would prefer and greatly appreciate untouched music from here on out. I know that the money is a priority," emphasis on that statement, the money is a priority, but Just Say has and will continue to break records and do great numbers with what he released while he was here. If you capitalize on his older music, what he's already put out, the money will come. Clear what you are able to and release the lost music from many years ago. And Cleo responds, "Firstly, to address this issue of money, Ja had signed deals while he was alive that involved pre-existing commitments, and every album that has been released posthumously, Ja had already been paid for when he was alive. Regarding his older music, we want to release it as untouched as possible." Clarifying the fact that it's really not up to her as much as we thought before. She, in controlling X's estate, still has to satisfy the commitments of pre-committed albums that were signed for under contract. Otherwise, the label would be losing hella money. But you know, maybe the label should just take the fall for it, considering they did sign for the risk and give away money, knowing that the artists in the rap game probably have a higher risk of passing away than any other genre, just because, you know, it's an inherently dangerous culture, especially with what X was talking about and being from the hood. On the other hand though, maybe X's mom should have bought X's estate out of the contract so that they didn't have to release any more posthumous albums or tracks or music videos, as to not even risk tarnishing his legacy. But to be honest, I think it's really hard for anybody in the position, whether it's the label or X's mom or X's management, to handle this situation, because there are so many sensitive fans out there. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's just there's a very differing opinion within the own fan base of one side who wants everything to release, whether, you know, it's inorganic releases with like the top pop artists, and sell as much merch as possible because there's a new Bad Vibes Forever launch that's coming on Halloween tomorrow. And then there's the other side, on the other hand, that's claiming that they don't want anything to release after he passed away because he would not have wanted it. Whether they know that for a fact or they're just assuming because he didn't necessarily have the best relationship with his mom at the beginning of his childhood. Now, it got better later on, but y'all get the point. So in conclusion, I don't think Cleo is really caring about risking the tarnishment of X's legacy. And I'm not saying that in a bad light whatsoever. She's just doing what the hardcore fans want to see with all the collabs and whatnot. Plus, she's kind of under contract to do everything that she's saying she's doing and all the albums that are coming out, so she doesn't really have a choice. And I guess we got a lot to look forward to, whether we like it or not, in that we might be getting an Uzi collab. That's kind of up in the air though. I think we're going to be getting like a 90% to 100% chance of a Juice WRLD collab. We're most likely getting the Weekend collab as well. The documentary is definitely set in stone for like sometime next year or the year after that. And the hologram might be a thing too. Shit, I might even go to a concert when I'm back in Miami because that's where X is from. So with that, it's your boy Bobbalam signing off, mutating a pygmy goat because I need to get prepared for the possibility that Juice WRLD, Lil Uzi Vert, and X all hop on the same track, even though it'll probably be 2 different songs with Uzi on one and Juice WRLD on the other. But I can still hope. Let me know in the comments if you want all of this, the hologram, the Uzi collab, the Juice WRLD collab, the Weekend, or do you think that they should just leave X's legacy alone? Make sure to like and subscribe while you're at it for the latest hip-hop news, drama, and analysis videos, as well as to follow me on all my socials in the description and join the Bob Gang if you with it. Peace out, cut people. Know what I'm saying?